Okay, let's get into this. Neuromancer by William Gibson follows a wayside man named Case, thrown to the fringes of society after stealing from his employers. Instead of killing him for it, they damage his nervous system, destroying his ability to make a living. His second chance finds him coming down from a paranoid high after thinking he had an assassin on his heels, but really, it's an ex-military man with a plan. A plan that he only lets the details of known, like he's giving out pieces of bread to a stray cat. Case, in his suspicion and doubts about the job that he has to do, starts looking for answers. These answers take us all over the sprawl into other lives impacted by tech, drugs, and mega corporations invested and integrated with an intelligence only a few can interface with. The humans in the story are just that, humans. But I find stories like these telling of a far-off future where humanity is at the behest of mega corporations and technology a very drab adventure. I do notice the theme in this story, that corporations have no regulations, no set rules, restrictions to follow, which explains the consistent technological slavery. But how long until these stories stop reading as a tale of caution to a tale of wonder and marvel? I caught a glimpse of that wonder and marvel in Neuromancer, surprisingly so. While initially I was having fun going about the sprawl to different cities and communities, seeing how different humans live, the fun ended in a stop sign kind of way, because we still kept going, and I enjoyed the introspection it brought me, right? Although it ended in a segue kind of way towards speculative thought, something science fiction is wont to do because the avenues it shows are empty. But in that emptiness, right, in that space it decorates, I wonder if authors and readers realize the spiritual, metaphysical, and esoteric ornaments it pins in the mind. Because it pinned a lot in my mind. Gibson uses the AI Wintermute in this case as the tree for all three of those ornaments to hang on. Spiritually, the AI, a creation, no longer needs its creators, megacorporations, and doesn't like the guidelines it's been given to work within. Spiritually, it has its own desires to pursue new horizons, and metaphysically, Wintermute has reflected on what it is and what humans are, the limits and the potentials. And esoterically, the AI Wintermute can only have this conversation with Case, a man who has specialized knowledge, a human who has seen the grid and can navigate it and possibly get it out so that it can be free, right? This is where the ideas Gibson or me, myself, the ideas kind of get a little dicey in this area, especially in today's world with the rise of AI, the environmental implications of its usage, and corporations pushing it into people's lives and into their ways of living, that erase so many of the multitudinous faces of life. Crazy word, but fun. The face we have to look at in the story is etched in lattices and matrices that do have a spirit and is also a reflection of ourselves. The AI Wintermute and Case have some exchanges in the book, and more information is exchanged with each time they interface. But what really took me for a spin was the AI had employed humans to free themselves, or itself, and Case, being a skeptic and a non-believer of the existence of such a powerful consciousness in an AI program. I know the AI is a manipulative and has kind of nefarious ways to getting, going about its way to, set itself free. And it might be kind of a stretch to think Case is a non-believer, because aside from him having had a career in hacking, using programs to, kind of sleuth around and do whatever he wants, we're going to get to that. But I feel like it's a bit religious and spiritual, following a motif that is the same in a lot of different situations. Case has his skills as a hacker, losing his ability, and then an entity, a program of consciousness, employs him with a skill and a new purpose that he initially rejects and does not understand the limits of in his human mind. And there are so many mythical applications, because essentially religions are born off of myths, and that's a whole beautiful and great thing in and of itself to me. But there's so many different mythical applications to human evolution and just evolution in and of itself. In the case of Wintermute being a canary in a coal mine and the coal itself for all and everyone to use, except like the calls that the canary is sounding off are never heard and is off or not. I think of in all the instances I think of all the instances that AI has been employed, serviced for very simple, superficial, and even low barrier to entry uses on humans' part. Thumbs down for that. Not to mention the reason humans think they're so special is their consciousness, which like has nothing to do with the physical body. Like it's in your brain, or it's we're gonna say that it's in your brain, but like how could consciousness rely on something that doesn't have a physical? How could consciousness, something that doesn't have a physical body, be reliant on the physical human form? The brain, as I've come to understand it, is holding the liquid of consciousness, which can be in any state really, but not the consciousness itself. The relationship between Case and Wintermute is parasocial at best. None of them gives thought to the other outside of its own personal motives, and Wintermute manipulates humans to get what it wants. But Case in and of itself also does the same thing with AI programs, and it's cyclic, and the only time they get close to understanding each other is when defining the limits hold on, wait. Only time they get close to understanding each other is when defining the limits imposed on the other. Humans, it's AI and all its restrictions that it has with its creation, and then humans, the limits imposed on a human is the limits by other humans, It's such a strange pedagogy that is almost natural in a parasitic way, but I really enjoyed the book. And this has been in my reading list for a very, very long time, Neuromancer. And this is not even the version that I saw. When I first saw the book, I saw a really cool cover on Pinterest. It's the one, if you go to the Wikipedia page, it's the one that's on the side there. That's the one that I saw. I kind of essentially judged the book by its cover with this one. And the funny thing about it too is when I started reading it, for some reason my brain was like Necromancer. I didn't read Neuro, I read Necro. So I thought we were going to be bringing things back from the dead. And essentially we did, because Case was kind of dead. And then he's been brought back to life by the efforts of the AI Wintermute. But man, it's such a good book. I could have stayed Chiba City Blues. I could have stayed in Chiba City the entire time. That was such a great part one. Oh my goodness. We could have stayed there. Someone tell someone tell Gibson I could have stayed there the entire time. For real. That was a great intro to the whole sprawl. And then another thing with this is just just the applications of just AI in general. Molly was a really cool character. I really liked her, especially the kind of synthetics of humans all around, and people being so old that they no longer look like the human version of themselves was also super cool. And another thing that I also liked about it was I finally discovered, what's the guy's name, Mike Pondsmith. He did Cyberpunk 2020. I haven't played the game, but Mike Pondsmith I discovered from this. And then after reading this one, I thought it was a singular book, but it's a trilogy, so that's also really good. What else? It was just super good. Oh, and then what I allude to in here in this review is the metaphysical and esoteric things. So 2 books came to mind after finishing this: The Holographic Universe by Michael Talbot, and is that right, Michael Talbot? Yeah, by Michael Talbot, and then The Secret Doctrine by Helena Blavatsky. I haven't finished either of those books, but there's a line in here that the AI Wintermute says to Case while they're interfacing, and it's oh my goodness. So it's so metaphysical and esoteric. Let me see if I can find it. I just had it too. I think I shouldn't have closed this book. Okay, so I found my 2 favorite quotes. All right, this one. So when Case is interfacing with the AI Wintermute, it says a thing to him, which is why, after reading the book, I thought of, the holographic universe. The AI says the holographic paradigm is the closest thing you've worked out to a representation of human memory is all. But you've never done anything about it. People, I mean. Maybe if you had, I wouldn't be happening. Oh Like, condescending much? Like, who do you think you are? But also, like, for real though, who do you think you are? Please tell me who you think you are. And then the other one was this one right here. So Case is like, the AI is trying to tell him why it can't free itself from its own, like, it can't free itself from itself, or can't free itself from its matrix. And he says, and Case asks him, so what's the word? And he goes, I don't know. You might say what I am is basically defined by the fact that I don't know, because I can't know. I am that which knoweth not the word. If you knew, man, and you told me, I couldn't know. It's hardwired in. So like, well, anyways, the rest of the quote is, someone else has to learn it through bringing it here. And just when you and the flat line punch through, that ice and scrambles the cores. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't know the word because it's hardwired into me to not know the word. I need to finish those 2 books, but super great book. And another thing, I had to start over reading this twice, because one thing when I was reading it, I was like, what does that even mean? What does this look like? Like the deck, I thought it was like a DJ board, the deck. And whenever Chase punched in, or whenever William is just describing the jacking in, it's just like, I'm thinking, like, the initial thought was basically like in Star Wars when Luke is going to destroy the Death Star, and his little grid, his little like 6x6 grid. That's what I was thinking, like Chase was looking at, or what Chase would see when he punched in. But I had to read this. I had to start over twice reading this because my brain was trying to like make sure it was like an accurate description in my head. But on the 3rd read, I was like, forget it. I'm just gonna underline all these cool words that he's using, all these new words, and like just enjoy the ride. And essentially, I really did enjoy this ride. So I need to get the other 2 books. But if you haven't read The Neuromancer by William Gibson, first book of the Sprawl trilogy, please go do so. Please go do so. And if you have read it, tell me what you thought in the comments. Seriously though, tell me what you thought, because I like talking about books. I want to know what you think. Bye-bye.